You know, I love nothing more than an impromptu stroll around my local countryside. Just grab the camera, jump in the car, and away you go. However, the difference with being around your local area is that you get to know it like the back of your hand. You get to know where the compositions are and the shots that will work. And that's what I'm out here to do today, is revisit one of my favourite scenes, a lone tree in the middle of the fields, and see with the weather as it is today if I can get a dramatic cloudy sky, a lone tree, and that simple yet solid composition. Now, as you can see, with it being cloudy, the light is fairly consistent. The cloud is acting as a giant softbox, diffusing all the sunlight. So the dynamic range today is not that great. So I'm hoping that I don't have to exposure bracket. I can just capture the darkest darks and the lightest lights in one single exposure. You haven't got any really harsh sunlight, really dark shadowy areas, and the horrible specular highlights that you usually get from a bright, sunny, cloudless sky. And there she is. That is my lone tree. In a way, this is my sycamore gap. I know it will never rival what the sycamore gap was and meant to thousands. I've come back, photographed this tree many times, and I've made friends with her. To me, she's a symbol of standing alone and standing up for what you believe in. I think from here, I'm going to whip out the old 50mm lens and get a composition, especially with those clouds in the background. Now with the 50mm lens on, I've got the tripod just under head height as if I was standing, just so I've got a nice composition which I'll show you very shortly. I haven't got any filters on because there's no real sunlight in the scene. I've got no reflections to filter out with a CPL filter, and the dynamic range is quite narrow with it being cloudy. So I'll just show you the composition that I've got with the camera set up in landscape format, because far too often I'm going for portrait format and I need to switch it up. This is the composition we are going for. I've got my levels displayed there just so I get the horizon nice and straight and I don't have to do too much rotating in post in Photoshop or Lightroom and the like. So I'm just going to check my histogram on this one, which, as you can see there, I'm not clipping any blacks, I'm not clipping any highlights, so I'm going to focus directly on the tree and take a shot like that with my 2-second timer, being very careful not to touch the camera while it's taking the shot. And then I'm just going to take another one, focusing on the foreground and the crops in this field. And I'm just going to have a look in camera to see if we're okay with the blinkies. Okay, well, we've got slight blinkies, which I don't think is going to be too much concern. But all I'll do for that is just, we're at shutter speed 125th of a second. So if I just bump it up to 200, make sure I focus on the tree again. And then just check it in camera. Okay, so the histogram is perfect. And then in terms of focus, I think that's perfectly in focus in the background. So at 200, let's just get a focus on the old crops and take another exposure. So if you can find a tree or a favourite spot where you know a composition works, especially out in the great outdoors, then you can come back time after time when the seasons change, the weather changes, sunrise, sunset, literally the options for you are infinite. And coming back to a location that you're familiar with means you can learn, study, try new things, go home, edit your photos, find out what worked, what didn't, and make improvements. All about making little baby steps to get to that final photo that you're happy with and you can pop into your portfolio. Right, I think it's time to go home, put the kettle on, and see what we've got. Now we're back at home or in a hotel room, as the case may be with myself. We are going to put our raw photo, which there is a link in the description of this video if you want to follow along. We're going to put the raw photo into Photoshop or Lightroom, and in this case it is Lightroom. And our job now is to edit this photo to try and put back some of the emotion and the feeling that we had when we were photographing or deciding to take a photograph of this subject. Some of you may have noticed when I was in the field, quite literally, I was taking exposures focusing on the tree in the background and the crops in the foreground. Traditionally with landscape photography, we want to try and have everything in focus from front to back. Now, with my aperture down at f8 and my camera fairly high on a tripod, I was far enough away from the crops in the foreground to be able to get focus from front to back on this occasion, so there was no need to focus bracket and blend a foreground and a background image together. We won't go into it in this video, but that essentially means that my hyperfocal distance was set so that at a certain distance in front of the camera and to infinity, everything was in focus in one single exposure. And I can show you here, we have the tree in the background, which is nice and sharp. And if we look, we have all the crops in the foreground, nice and sharp. So my depth of field is covering everything that's included in the composition on my camera sensor. So the first thing I always like to do is change my color profile to that of landscape. And that for me just gives the colors more of a natural tone. The second thing I'm going to do is crop this photo because I want to simplify the composition even more. So I want to end up with this tree pretty much slap bang in the middle of my composition. And I think in this case, I might even go 16:9 because I think this might make a good wallpaper or a screensaver for a display device. So I'm going to make sure now my tree is smack bang in the middle. And because there's only one tree, you'll find this, either 1, 3, 5, odd numbers seem to work better than if there were two trees side by side. Now what I'm going to do now is get rid of some of these distractions using the remove tool. So if I click over to remove, make sure it's on remove, and then just draw over parts of the image that I don't want to end up in the final composition. Make sure this is on subtract and then just hit remove. And if you're not happy with the variation it's given you, you can just scroll through the variations, and I think the simplest one is the easiest one. I think this bush, I'm probably just going to crop it in a little bit more. Just make sure the tree is centered, just to get rid of that bush instead of using the remove tool. So now I'm not going to do many global adjustments. I kind of want to make the sky a bit more dramatic and hone the viewer's attention onto that tree. So for that, I'm going to use masks. So if I come over to the mask and I select a sky mask, what we're going to see is that yes, Lightroom does a good job of selecting the sky, but if we zoom in, we would also see that it's selected some of the leaves and some of the bushes down here where it can't quite work out, should I be sky or should I be leaves? Should I be masking this? Shouldn't I be masking this? There is a really handy trick you can do with a sky mask should you get this situation, which is basically to subtract another sky mask. So with the mask selected, we're going to subtract and we're going to press sky. And Lightroom kind of takes what is in between sky and what is in between foliage and gives us just that fringe. And now what we can do is with the sky that we've just added, so sky 2, make sure it's selected, click invert, and then it gives a more crisp distinction between sky and foliage. Now in the field, I got my exposure pretty bang on. You can see on the histogram, I'm not pushing against the very right hand side and blowing out any highlights, and I'm way above clipping any shadows or making a black unrecoverable area. So I think for the clouds, just want to add a bit of drama. So for that, all I'm going to simply do is just decrease the exposure a little bit, increase the contrast, and then maybe just pull back some of the highlights. And now you can see we've got some lens spots there, which we'll deal with later. Now what I want to do next is just brighten up the center of the image, just to pull the viewers into this tree. So all I'm going to do, plain and simply, is create a new mask, a radial gradient, and then just drag it across the center of the image. Just make sure my feathering is about there, and then just increase the exposure and just adjust the mask so it's not obvious that we have a radial gradient brightening up the center of the image about there. Now the next thing I'm going to do is add another radial gradient to give it the image a bit of a vignette. So again, another radial gradient, drag it quite big over the entire image, and then I'm going to invert this because I only want to darken off the corners of the image really. Again, these are very subtle adjustments because there isn't really much editing we can do to such a simple composition. So next up, and you'll find I like to do this to a lot of my landscape compositions, is to add a linear gradient just to darken the bottom of the frame ever so slightly. And the reason I do this really is just to give a sense that the field at the bottom is the closest to us. And you'll notice this with many a famous oil painting like Constable. Anything that's closer to you tends to be more contrasty, darker. Anything that's further away from you seems to be brighter and more faded. So with a linear gradient, I'm just going to put the exposure down ever so slightly, maybe make it a bit larger, very subtly. You can see the difference. There's not really a great lot in it, but it just gives that extra sense of depth, if that makes sense. Now, again, because we've got these clouds and we want to, yes, see the clouds, but we want to focus down onto this beautiful tree in the middle of a field, a lone tree in the middle of a field, I'm just going to do one more linear gradient from the top down, quite large, quite feathered. Whoops. Trying to keep it straight as possible, to be fair. And then just bring it up, just so we've got the very top of the image or the photograph, and then just pull it down again so that we get the sense of these overbearing clouds above us. And as you can see, that's made the sky a little bit more dramatic and a little bit more sense of an impeding storm. So with my masks and playing about with the light to try and create depth and a focal point for the viewer, I am now just going to sharpen this image a little bit. So if we zoom into the tree, we can see if we go down to sharpening, just increase the sharpening just to make it pop ever so slightly. And then if I hold down the Alt key, just so we sharpen the edges and we don't sharpen any areas like the clouds where there really isn't any edges. And then you probably won't see this on the whatever display device you're watching this back on, but it just makes the grass and the leaves pop. So you may have noticed I've got an absolutely diabolically filthy lens, and I've got a few lens spots. Now they're quite easy to get rid of, especially when they're in soft areas like clouds or areas where there's not a lot happening, should we say. And we quite simply go to the remove tool, make sure we've got heel selected, and then any spots we can just literally draw a dot over the top. And Lightroom usually does a pretty good job of getting rid of some of these dust spots or spots on the lens. So it's just a case of very carefully looking around the image, especially in the lighter areas, to see if we've got any lens spots. What I usually do as well when I'm looking around the image is just to see if we've got any random distractions. You know, there might be a random log in the field or a branch, but to be fair, there doesn't look like there's many distractions. Now, the only thing I want to do really in terms of color grading this image is just to tone down the green, because we evolved to survive in daylight, and daylight incorporates mainly the yellow and green wavelengths in the visible color spectrum. And also we learned to survive in the jungle, which is full of green foliage. Our eyes are the most sensitive to green. So to stop the green looking a little bit garish, especially against our moody grey sky, I'm just going to tone down the green colours in this photo. So back to the edit page, and then if I scroll down to the colour mixer, I'm going to select green and then just decrease the saturation ever so slightly, just to take the garishness out of the green. Again, it's only very subtle. And voila, there we have a very simple composition with minimal editing, where we really remove any distractions and give the viewer exactly what we want to tell them. And we take it and we edit it and we turn it into a final finished product. And again, very easily you could create an Instagram or social media friendly composition.